our last installment of Unepic adventures for the Sega GameGear, I hopefully steered you clear of the ass-tastrophe that is Axe Battler, A Legend of Golden Ass. If you haven't seen that review, you can click that handy little card at the top right of the screen to view it. Unfortunately, this may have given you a less than positive impression of the system, but the GameGear gets a bad rap as it is, and it is definitely not the goal of this channel to contribute to the gross defamation of Sega's plucky underdog. Be assured that the writer of the previous review is currently receiving a very stern talking to. But enough about bad games. In my Arabian Nights review, I teased footage from a Sega first-party Dragon Quest clone, claiming it was a personal genre favorite. I didn't make that statement lightly. Defenders of Oasis is easily the best of the GameGear RPGs. The kind of game you buy an entirely new system just to experience. But fortunately for your cheap ass, all these games, with the exception of Axe Battler. Ow! Sorry Golden Axe fans, but even Sega realizes Axe Battler was a turd. Again, all of these games are available on the 3DS Virtual Console for under $5 each. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Defenders of Oasis is the story of the evil wizard Ahriman, sealed away by the power of 3 magical rings in the heroic struggle of the playable party to protect said rings and defeat Ahriman's evil empire. This is a plot we've all seen in every classic JRPG ever written, but Defenders sets itself apart with its exotic setting, polished writing, and engaging pace. For a handheld RPG intended to be played primarily on car trips and in the privacy of one's bathroom, Defenders of Oasis has some of the best pacing that I've seen in any RPG of the era. The game is divided into chapters, a storytelling vehicle that Sega was really into all of 1992. 4 of these 5 chapters introduce a new town, some genuinely entertaining exposition skits, and at least 1 new dungeon to spelunk. There's 0 overworld trekking, thank the Dijon, and spontaneous travel between these isolated stages is handled through the use of your genie's free teleportation spell, Rag. Even the random encounters are pleasantly randomized. Sometimes you'll trigger 3 battles in a row, and sometimes you'll walk clear across the screen unmolested, leaving the player free to casually explore dungeon mazes, ensuring they will track down every last chest and notice board. Treasures you absolutely have to grab in order to level up the genie. While the other characters gain XP and level traditionally, the genie must be upgraded with special items that boost his stats. Even his spells are unlocked by discovering nonsensical magic words printed on dungeon billboards. Normally, I detest random encounters with every fiber of my being, but this was good. This system I liked. Until it all fell apart in the final chapter. But Sega had to cram in all that grueling dungeon grinding somewhere. And with the other dungeons being relatively bite-sized, the endurance run through the gauntlet of final mini-bosses made for a satisfying and meaty entree. Now, the genie isn't your only unique party member. Each character has that something special quality, which alters the way you'll manage them in battle. The prince is your all-around balanced and frankly boring hero. He's strong enough that you'll pretty much always attack with him, but his only unique gift is the ability to run away. Salim the sailor is naturally high in agility with a ton of HP. He can perform the Dance of Death, which definitely slices up a group of enemies, perfect for taking down weaker mobs efficiently. But I had the most fun with the thief Agmar. He can devote a turn to hiding in the shadows, delaying his attacks for powered-up backstabbing later. While his assault is actually weaker than 2 vanilla attacks combined, Agmar is completely immune to all physical damage while hiding. Enemies will then waste their turn swinging at an opponent they can't possibly hurt. A handy trick to save my party's butt in more than 1 boss encounter. Defenders of the Oasis is truly a console experience trapped within a very tiny screen, with dialogue that's a lot better than most PlayStation localizations. The characters are rich with personality, except the genie. He's no Robin Williams, and is pretty much just a really useful slave. But the prince exhibits personal growth throughout the adventure, making the iconic transformation from irresponsible youth to dedicated hero. This depth is doubly impressive when you consider that contemporary Game Boy RPGs were frequently written at about a 2nd grade reading level. Visually, Defenders approximates a 16-bit aesthetic. Other RPGs for the system look way more at home on the NES and are comparable to Game Boy games but with color, which is exactly how most classic gamers frame the GameGear library. Defenders of Oasis truly stands out in a league of its own and really harnesses the graphical capabilities of the GameGear, with its large sprites, bold color palettes, and intricate environments that really nail the delicate style of medieval Islam and capture Arabia's diverse landscape. But one good RPG isn't enough to salvage the sorry reputation of Sega's unpopular handheld. Luckily, I have a lot more games to cover, so once again I ask you to stay tuned to Daria Plays RPGs for more Unepic adventures for the Sega Game Gear.